Andrew Yang ended 2019 on a high note with one of the largest fundraising surges in the Democratic presidential primary. If the people are on your side, the money follows. The opposite isn't true. Yang tweeted on Friday morning. The former tech entrepreneur raked in $16.5 million in campaign contributions in the final 3 months of the year. That's roughly a 65% increase from the $10 million he raised in the previous quarter and a striking jump from his preliminary fundraising haul of $1.7 million at the beginning of 2019. In fact, Yang had a higher percentage increase than some of the race's leading candidates such as former Vice President Joe Biden and Senator Bernie Sanders, even though they brought in more cash. He was second only to Amy Klobuchar, whose fundraising skyrocketed 138% between the last 2 quarters of the year. Yang's increasing fundraising totals reflect his surprising rise in the Democratic primary. He started the 2020 campaign as a single-issue candidate running on his Freedom Dividend proposal to give every American adult $1,000 per month in basic universal income. But his rise in the polls and his ability to meet strict debate requirements so far place him ahead of several career politicians. Sanders topped the field with $34.5 million in total donations raised during the final quarter, a 36% increase from $25.3 million cash haul the previous quarter. According to the Sanders campaign, $18 million came in from 900,000 individual donations in December alone. Pete Buttigieg came in just behind the Vermont senator in fourth quarter fundraising. The former South Bend, Indiana mayor reported raising $24.7 million, a 29% increase from the previous fundraising cycle. A new Emerson College national poll puts Democratic presidential candidate Andrew Yang in 4th place with 8% support, ahead of Michael Bloomberg at 7% and Pete Buttigieg at 6%. The data led Yang supporters to push #YangSurge into the top trends on Twitter Thursday evening. The results reveal that Bernie Sanders still leads among young people aged 18 to 29, gaining 47% support from this group. Interestingly, Yang draws the majority of his support from this group as well, coming in at 20% support, which is creating a very interesting dynamic. Of all candidates, Yang supporters were also most likely to say they would not vote for anyone else as the Democratic nominee should he fail to gain the nomination. The data comes as the Quad City Times reported that Yang has drawn support from former Donald Trump voters who plan to either take a risk on Yang or support Trump again. Yang is currently on a 17-day bus tour of Iowa ahead of the state's caucuses on February 3rd. Former Democratic presidential candidate Marianne Williamson recently revealed she would be supporting Yang's campaign bid in the Iowa caucuses, although she did stop short of endorsing him. Andrew is light in tone, but he is deep in substance, she wrote on Instagram. I know from first-hand experience the breadth of his intellect and the expansiveness of his heart. Williamson noted that Sanders and Elizabeth Warren will almost certainly make it past Iowa and said that she wants to help Yang get past the early primaries. I am lending my support to Andrew in Iowa, hopefully to help him get past the early primaries and remind us not to take ourselves too seriously. A new Monmouth University national poll showed Yang as the only candidate with a nominally positive favorability rating, 33% favorable and 29% unfavorable. Patrick Murray, director of the independent Monmouth University Polling Institute, suggested that the results could be a sign that Yang should start making the electability argument. Andrew Yang has become the 7th Democratic candidate to qualify for the February debate in New Hampshire after reaching the polling threshold on Sunday. The tech entrepreneur joined 6 other candidates who have already qualified for the February 7th debate: former Vice President Joe Biden, Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont, Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts, and Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota, businessman Tom Steyer, and former mayor of South Bend, Indiana, Pete Buttigieg. The Democratic National Committee announced earlier this month the requirements for the 8th Democratic debate in New Hampshire. In order to appear on stage, candidates must have at least 5% in at least 4 DNC-approved national or early state polls, or receive 7% in 2 early state polls. Candidates must also receive donations from at least 225,000 unique donors and a minimum of 1,000 unique donors per state in at least 20 states. Alternatively, candidates could qualify by receiving at least 1 delegate in the Iowa caucuses, which will take place February 3rd, 4 days before the debate. Yang has already met the donor threshold and passed the polling requirement after receiving 5% in a CNN University of New Hampshire poll and 7% in a Washington Post ABC national poll. The candidate was left off the debate stage earlier this month, having surpassed the donor requirement but not meeting the polling requirement. Yang has proved people wrong every step of the way and seems to have no intention of slowing down anytime soon, with his almost cult-like following in the Yang Gang that seems to multiply daily. Yang is creating a snowball effect that is getting larger every day and at this point seems impossible to slow down. So that wraps up the video. Is there anything you think I missed? If so, tell me in the comments below. Or check out some of the videos on screen if you like this one. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, but with that being said, thank you for watching and have a nice day, folks.